All right, let's talk about something serious, but something you can absolutely handle. It's called a soft grid down. This isn't the stuff of Hollywood movies with cities in total darkness forever. Instead, think of it as a temporary but widespread power outage. It could be caused by a solar flare, a cyber attack, extreme weather overwhelming the system. The power might be out for a few days, maybe even a week or two. The lights go out, the internet vanishes, your phone screen goes black. It's a major disruption, and it tests your resourcefulness. Your everyday life comes to a screeching halt, and you're suddenly faced with challenges you don't normally think about. The first 24 hours are the most critical. This is when confusion is highest and people start to panic. But not you. You're going to be calm because you're going to be prepared. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to make your home a safe haven until the grid comes back online. There's a simple truth in any survival situation. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. You wouldn't climb a mountain without the right gear, and you shouldn't face a grid down without a plan. Being prepared isn't about being paranoid. It's about being smart and self-reliant. It gives you confidence and peace of mind. When the unexpected happens, you won't be frozen by fear. Instead, you'll have a checklist of actions to take. This preparation starts now, today, not when the lights are already out. It's about slowly building up a small stockpile of essential supplies that will see you through a tough time. It's a safety net for you and your loved ones. Your preparation can be simple. It starts with a go bag or a bug-out bag for each family member, even if you plan on staying home. Water, food, a first aid kit, a torch, and a change of clothes. Every time you go grocery shopping, just pick up an extra can of soup, a large bottle of water, or a pack of batteries. Most importantly, your preparation must include knowledge. You can have all the gear in the world, but if you don't know how to use it, it's useless. Have a family meeting and make sure everyone knows the plan. Preparation is power. In any survival scenario, water is king. You can go for weeks without food, but you'll only last a few days without water. When the grid goes down, the pumps that supply water to your home will likely stop working. Your taps will run dry. That's why your number one priority is securing a safe and reliable source of drinking water. The easiest first step is to have a stored supply. The general rule is 1 gallon, which is about 4 liters of water per person per day. Once the power goes out, your first immediate action should be to fill up your bathtubs, sinks, and any other clean containers you have with tap water. This water is still safe to drink for now and gives you a fantastic immediate reserve. This is your buffer. Don't waste a second. While others are still figuring out what's happened, you are securing dozens of gallons of life-saving water. You might have a water heater tank in your home which can hold 30 to 50 gallons of potable water. Learn how to drain it safely. The most reliable method is boiling. Bring the water to a rolling boil for at least 1 full minute. If you can't boil it, you can use water purification tablets or a high-quality portable water filter. Know your methods and have the tools ready. After water, food is your next priority. A grid-down scenario turns your kitchen upside down. Without refrigeration, food will spoil quickly. Your first job is to manage what you already have. The rule is simple. Eat the perishable food first. Open up your fridge and freezer, meat, dairy, leftovers, cook up what you can, have a big barbecue cook on a camping stove. Your long-term food strategy relies on your emergency pantry. This is where your preparation pays off. Soups, vegetables, fish, rice, pasta, peanut butter, nuts. Cooking without electricity needs creativity. Camping stove setup and cooking propane butane. Use it outdoors or in a well-ventilated area to heat up canned food or boil water for pasta. Fireplace, wood-burning stove, cook over the embers. The right food and cooking means keep your family fed, healthy, and in good spirits. So, when the grid fails in a cold climate, staying warm honestly becomes a matter of life and death. Hypothermia is a silent killer. Without central heating, your house will cool down to match the outside temperature pretty quickly. Your mission here is to conserve heat and create a warm microenvironment for yourself and your loved ones. The first step is to consolidate. Choose one small room in your house to be your warm room. Ideally, pick a room with few windows, and if possible, pick a south-facing room so it gets some sun. Move your family into that room, move bedding into the warm room, move all essential supplies, water, food, flashlights. Then make sure to close the doors to all other rooms to keep the heat from escaping. Insulation is your secret weapon. Cover your windows with blankets, or use towels, or even cardboard if that's what you have. If you have a tent, consider setting it up inside your warm room. A tent creates a smaller, more insulated space that will trap your body heat. Layering your clothing is crucial too. Start with a thermal base layer, add a fleece or wool mid-layer, then an outer layer. Wool is fantastic because it insulates even when it's damp. Make sure everyone has hats, gloves, and warm socks. You lose a massive amount of body heat through your head and feet. At night, huddle together. Use multiple blankets and sleeping bags if you have them. Be extremely cautious with alternative heating sources. Indoor safe propane heaters can be lifesavers. Always ensure you have proper ventilation to prevent carbon monoxide buildup. If you have a fireplace, definitely use it, but make sure the chimney is clean and functioning correctly. Safe warmth is the goal here, so stay warm and stay safe. All right, let's talk about securing your home. Your home becomes your modern-day cave in a grid-down situation. Your home is your castle. Keeping it secure gives you peace of mind, it protects your family, and it protects your supplies. Most people will help each other, but a prolonged crisis can push folks to desperation, and desperate people can do desperate things. Your security plan doesn't need to turn your home into an armed fortress. The goal is to make your place a less appealing target. Low-profile security is key. Look unprepared and uncomfortable. Don't advertise your preparedness. First line of defense, keep a low profile. At night, avoid bright lanterns or candles visible from the street. Use blackout curtains or tape blankets over your windows. If you have to cook outside on a barbecue, do it in the backyard. The smell of food can travel and attract unwanted attention. Reinforce your entry points, doors. Make sure your locks are strong and that you actually use them. Even a simple door jammer or security bar adds solid reinforcement. Ground floor windows. Wedge a piece of wood or a dowel in the track of sliding windows to keep them from being forced open. You don't have to board everything up like you're in a zombie movie. Subtle reinforcements are much smarter. Have a plan. Awareness is your best security tool. Get to know your neighbors. Agree to look out for each other. A neighborhood watch is a powerful deterrent. The most effective security measure is a simple plan that everyone in your family knows and understands. In our hyper-connected world, the silence that comes with a grid-down event can be, well, one of the most jarring things you'll ever experience. Suddenly your smartphone is just a paperweight and the internet is gone. Staying informed and being able to communicate is absolutely vital for your safety and your sanity. You really need to know what's happening in the wider world. Is the outage local? Is the outage national? Are help and services on the way? Your best tool for getting information is an emergency radio. Hand crank emergency radio, no batteries. Solar-powered radio, no batteries. AM stations, FM stations, no AI weather and emergency broadcasts. This one-way communication is your lifeline to the outside world. Keep your radio on and listen for official updates. Don't underestimate the psychological boost of hearing a human voice broadcasting reliable information when you're surrounded by silence. It's honestly a beacon of hope. Two-way communication is trickier, but it's not impossible. A simple set of walkie-talkies, two-way radios, can be brilliant for short-range communication. Family members, neighbors, different houses. Someone going out for supplies. For longer-range options, amateur radio, ham radio is the gold standard, though it does require a license and some training. It's a fantastic hobby to get into if you're a serious prepper. And don't forget the low-tech methods. Set up a physical meeting point with your family and neighbors. It's all about building a resilient communication web that doesn't depend on the grid. Surviving a grid-down scenario is as much a mental game as it is a physical one. Fear, anxiety, stress are natural reactions, but if they take over, they can be more dangerous than the situation itself. Your mindset is your sharpest survival tool. Cultivate a positive mental attitude. Don't ignore danger. Focus on what you can control. Focus on the next small, achievable task. Purify water for the day. Prepare the next meal. Break big challenges into small steps. Routine is your best defense. Humans thrive on structure. Make a new grid-down routine. Wake up at the same time each day. Set meal times. Assign tasks to everyone, even kids. This gives purpose and control. Chopping wood. Checking the water supply. Preparing food. Reading a story. A predictable schedule creates normalcy and keeps panic and boredom at bay. Remember to take breaks and decompress. Don't be all work, no play. Build morale, play card games, play board games, read books aloud, tell stories, play an instrument, sing songs. Laughter reduces fear. These small activities protect mental health. Be patient and flexible. Things will go wrong. Your plan won't be perfect. That's okay. Don't get discouraged. Adapt and overcome. Managing your psychology and spirits is the ultimate survival skill. It's the engine that will power you through the crisis. In the end, the most powerful survival tool you have isn't a knife or a fire starter, it's your community. The idea of the lone wolf survivor, isolated and fighting off the world, is actually a pretty dangerous fantasy. True resilience is found in numbers. Your neighbors are not your competition, they're your greatest allies. A prolonged crisis is just too big for any one person or family to handle alone. By working together, you can pool resources, share skills, provide mutual security. Someone might have medical training, another might be great at fixing things. Someone might have a well while you have a large stockpile of firewood. Start building these connections now, before you actually need them. Get to know the people who live on your street, learn their names and say hello. A friendly wave today could become a helping hand tomorrow. When a crisis hits, you'll already have a foundation of trust. Once the grid is down, make a point to check on your neighbors. Organize a neighborhood meeting to discuss a plan. Who has what resources? How can you help each other? A small organized group is far safer and more effective than a street full of isolated, scared individuals. Working together opens up a world of possibilities. You can organize a neighborhood watch with people taking shifts to keep an eye on the area. You can pool your food for communal meals, which is more efficient and also boosts morale. If someone gets sick or injured, the community can rally to provide care. Sharing the burden makes it lighter for everyone. You are stronger, safer, and more resilient together. This is how humanity has survived for millennia, by cooperating. So my final and most important tip is this: be a good neighbor. Stay safe, stay prepared, and look after each other. You will get through this.